welcome to Half the Battle.
Today, we're looking at Wild Weasel.
Except we're not.
You see, sometimes a reviewer really has to work to come up with a funny way of doing a review. It can be hard work.
However, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes a subject is presented to a reviewer on a silver platter. This is one such occasion.
And that is why I will not be calling this character Wild Weasel.
I will instead refer to him by the name he got in Belgium and Holland.
I present to you Fucker G. I'm just gonna let that sink in for a moment. Yeah, this review is gonna be mostly like those Meet the Parents movies, only without Robert De Niro embarrassing himself.
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
Okay, I lied. Robert De Niro is totally embarrassing himself here.
This fucker was released in 1984 with all original body parts. With the red color scheme, it's pretty obvious they were going for a Red Baron style here, after the famous German ace pilot from World War I. It should also be noted that this fucker has a huge helmet.
Yeah, it ain't gonna get any better from here, folks. Strap in!
Actually, from a realistic perspective, the helmet is fine. It would look that big, if not bigger, in real life. It's most other figures that have heads that are too tiny compared to their bodies. The best parts of this figure are in the details. The little blue scarf really ties the World War I aviator look together, and the notepads on his upper legs are one of the best little touches I've seen on a G.I. Joe figure.
He didn't come with any accessories since he was a vehicle driver.
And what a vehicle! Just look at this fucker's airplane.
It's only the freaking Rattler!
One of the sweetest aircraft in the G.I. Joe line, and Cobra's best looking plane. Fucker's got a sweet ride. It was based on the real-life A-10 Thunderbolt, but with modifications. There's an extra gunner seat that isn't there on the real thing. The most significant modification has to be the turning wings. Yeah, the Rattler is capable of vertical takeoff and landing, something the real Thunderbolt can't do, though it does only require a short runway.
For kids, this thing was a blast to play with! I mean, you've got the movable wings, you've got the bombs and the missiles, and you've got the moving gunner's position.
And like with the figure, the devil is in the details. The Rattler came with extra panels you could slap on that make it battle damaged. Now that's what I call going the extra mile. The only drawback with this beautiful toy is that it's fragile. It's not sturdy for rugged play as the ads may have had you believe. The landing gears, while fully movable, can snap off and break a little too easily.
The worst offender though, well, that's the twin gun thing on the gunner's position.
Those barrels break off really easily. In fact, I have never seen a Rattler at a flea market with them intact. So, if you have a Rattler with those guns in pristine condition, you've got a real treasure there, my friend. Treat it as such. The Rattler mold was reused a few times, most notably as a Tiger Force vehicle, where they gave it yellow and black camo for a plane. Yes, this aircraft can now blend in perfectly with all those flocks of flying tigers that plague our skies.
Seriously, what the hell?
This fucker only got one toy in the original line, but hey, at least he came with a kick-ass vehicle. I think I'll talk about one more toy that came later. Meet Little Fucker.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen!
Yeah, I just had to show you this travesty. This figure was released in 2002, and it has only one original body part, and they really shouldn't have bothered, as it's the head. I mean, look at it!
Look at it, I say!
It's so tiny! And it's also a helmet! His noggin is literally too small to be physically possible. These proportions only make sense if he was a Goomba from the Mario Brothers movie, or maybe that shrunken head guy from Beetlejuice. Seriously, did they accidentally put the head of a mask figure on him?
No, really, check this out!
Look, it's literally the size of a mask helmet. And yeah, like I said, the head is the only original part. His whole body is just that of a Neo-Viper, meaning it has less articulation since there's no ball joint in the thigh. Overall, the 1984 version is really excellent, while the 2002 one is an abomination.
Now let's talk about the character, starting with the file card.
Okay, first off, you're justified in asking, why Fokker G? Well, Fokker was actually the name of a Dutch airplane company, and there was even a Fokker G1 plane. That's all there is to it. It's just unfortunate, or rather fortunate if you're an internet reviewer, that the name has certain other connotations in English.
There's another reason why I'm not calling him Wild Weasel, though.
A weasel really isn't considered to be a fierce beast now, is it? Why would you call yourself that? Also, there's only one person I would ever call the Weasel. Bobby the Brain Heenan, the greatest manager and commentator in wrestling's history. So, what about this guy? Well, he learned all his flying skills in the South American and African bush wars. The bush was misspelled as bus on the file card, confusing the hell out of me for a while. They probably refer, in part anyway, to the Rhodesian Civil War from the 70s. Later file cards changed this, so we just learned his flying skills from Cobra, so as to not date the character. The card further states that he has a speech impediment, caused by a mouth injury sustained during a strafing run. They call it a sibilance in his speech pattern.
Yeah, I had to look that up.
It means he's got S sounds when he speaks.
I just love this about the G.I. Joe file cards. Every once in a while, a kid would have to get up, get to the dictionary, and figure what's going on.
One more notable thing about the file card is that it actually has a Joe, Wild Bill in this case, praising the guy. Oh, he hates him, but he respects his piloting skills. That's a nice touch. As far as the comic is concerned, well, you've already seen plenty of Wild Weasel if you watch my comic reviews. He shows up without a Rattler and gets captured immediately by Zartan. And then by the Joes. And then by the Joes again. Yeah, it's not the strongest debut. It even takes a bunch of issues before he finally gets to fly his goddamn Rattler.
I will say though, he's like the only member of Cobra Command who doesn't conspire against the commander.
And he does get an issue to showcase his flying skills. But I'm not gonna talk about that now, because that issue is literally the next review coming up. So look out for more comic Wild Weasel there. In the cartoon, he only has a minor part. There is some rivalry with Ace, the G.I. Joe pilot, but the most I remember of him is getting captured by the Joes.
Man, the poor guy just can't catch a break.
By the way, he does not have the S lisp in the cartoon, or in the comic for that matter, probably because there already was a slightly more prominent member of Cobra who sounded like a snake. And that was Wild Weasel. One cool figure, one real fucker, and one of the best planes ever in G.I. Joe. Tune in next time for more of him in a comic review.
See you later, everybody.